This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
But why would she go to this place out of all the places? Anyways, guys, welcome back to Genshin Impact. In the last episode, we were making plans to kinda get the truth out of Farina, because we don't know where she's been. No one has seen her. She's acting very suspicious. And she may be here in Poisson. She is.
That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Paimon, stay quiet.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless.
She feels like she can't save her own nation.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out.
Kinda have a feel for something that might happen now.
I'm sorry. But what can I even do? Other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over.
Farina.
Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects, come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
And straight up to putting back on an act, I guess.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the arts. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Sauce Phantom are freaking out right next to them too.
Stop trying to act tough, Farina. At this point, it's kinda giving me secondhand embarrassment.
Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there!
Can you guys chill? We're having a conversation here.
Quick, after her!
No! Wrong tactic, wrong tactic.
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off.
She's a lot to deal with right now.
Quick, we have to catch up with her.
Yeah, babysitting for the Archon, I guess. That's a first. That's a new thing. They're not very fast, are they? Where are we going? Are we running towards them or running away from them? I can't tell. Okay, we're hiding.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What? What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
Is that the trap that we've been trying to set up? Is there like Navia and Nouvellette and Chlorint and everyone else hiding in there or something? Yeah, I think you can feel the cutscene coming up. Or not.
Paimon's exhausted.
I'm so tired. I totally thought they had caught me. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
You might want to lower your voice to stay hidden.
You were right. Yep, that's a good girl.
Is prophecy going on, or are these people trying to, I don't know, knock over the house we're hiding in?
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Another disaster just struck, I suspect.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neverlette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already...
Has Verena finally reached her limit? Now that she's talking about her actual feelings, she's starting to look frontal stiff. Yeah. You begin to talk amongst yourselves as Verena slowly calms down.
It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled.
But even then, you still haven't given up, right?
Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free.
But that would also mean that all hope would disappear.
Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
Running out of time. You can't just go back to square one like this. I have to get information out of her. Verena, you might not have to shoulder this burden alone. I mean, I'm the protagonist, so although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, you people are more than willing to share a burden with you.
Share my burden? That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
Has her hair always been glowing like this? Even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. In me. Just share it with me. I'm what you call a witness.
A witness? Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case...
There's no time left. Please, Verena, just spit it out. Cutscene? Cutscene? Yes, finally. She's gonna turn into a werewolf or something, I don't know. Oh no. Where are we? What the hell has Nubalet been doing? What the? Is this what we planned, or am I being set up too right now? I can't tell. I feel bad for her.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance.
Come on, we were so close to actually get the truth out of her. But this had to be our plan, I guess, because we ran into that weird box-looking thing, and this was obviously related to his chick. Oh my god, why?
Now,
She must hate us now.
without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
I feel so bad for her.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes.
And now we're back to square one. We were so close to actually hearing her true feelings, and now she's back to putting on an act again.
Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
Oh my god.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Are we sure she's the Archon after all? Where's Alicino, and like, what's her take on this?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Navia sitting there, and Charlotte, and Lynette, and I can't recognize anyone else.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice! One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydro Archon, Fosalor, will now begin!
She's literally just owned up the situation like she's the one who's been plotting this. Woohoo! Wow.
Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
No one knows. Maybe she's gonna switch up in 5 seconds again.
Alright then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Thank you, Your Honor. What? It's been me all along.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent.
We were so close to getting her to tell us the truth, and it still turned out like this in the end. Yeah, and whose fault is it, Linny? It's okay though, as long as we can defeat Farina in court, we'll still have a chance to figure everything out. Will we?
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates.
Okay, interesting.
They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Sorry about that.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
No, you guessed wrong.
Oh?
The mission was to give you one last chance. Which we almost had! We hope that you share your secret with us before the magic box arrived onto the stage.
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
The only thing we can do now is to judge the Hydra Archon. Still, I can't help but be a little bothered by that conversation earlier. What did Farina want to say to me right before we arrived on the stage? Guess we'll never find out now!
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can
practical gift. I never would have thought of using it this way.
Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
Story recap.
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, alright.
Came Linny's attorney. A murder case unfolded in the midst of Linny and Lynette's first performance at the Grand Opera House. Though they were cleared of the accusations leveled against them, their identities as agents of the House of Heart were revealed.
I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence.
Need no recap for this, I remember that one.
This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratories. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out.
Yeah, that thing was weird, because nobody said that child was, like, convicted, and then he still was convicted. Still been found guilty.
A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Nervillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers.
How are we supposed to find all that out now? That's interesting, though.
The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Like, maybe the primordial seawater case is actually tied to Farina and that she needs to accept something, and then the prophecy will stop. Like, she's been causing the prophecy, kinda. Like, in, like, you know, Butterfly Effect. If you played Life is Strange without wanting to spoil the game, if you didn't take the butterfly picture, then the rest would not have happened. And maybe Farina also had, like, a Butterfly Effect kind of trigger thing that sorta caused the prophecy to start. But we're gonna find out eventually, hopefully. It's about time.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervillette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
I love to hear Ether speak, but oh my god, what are you saying? But who is the real Archon then? Is it Nervillette or is it... Wait, according to the stone slates, the Archon fell down into the water. What if that person on the stone slate was never Farina to begin with, but another person who looked like her? And that she just resembles the original Archon, but the real Archon fell into the water. That's why the pictures were out of order. And because the real Archon fell into the water, the primordial seawater thing is happening and is taking all the people in Fontaine with them, because they're like being dragged under the water to follow the real Archon or something. Guys, did I just solve the case? Did I just... Gonna find out, I guess.
What was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Huh.
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted.
Who are you, imposter? Emergency meeting. Are we playing Among Us?
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Because what's been bugging me about her design is, why is her eye inverted? Like, there's gotta be something going on here. Come on.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Like, is she really Focalor's?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
Why does this random NPC literally, I can't remember the name right now, but why does she look like, I guess her name was Monaca from Danganronpa Ultra Dispergos? Like the green hair, the green eyes, even the red bow tie and the whole outfit. Though I don't think Monaca was wearing glasses.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Where's the justice if everything you said is a lie?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
People only see you as their Archon because that's a long-held belief.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am?
I don't know, an imposter? An actor?
And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Yeah, that's the thing that's been bugging me, because she just said, like, earlier that she's been, I don't know, researching the prophecy for over 100 years. But I don't know, maybe she's sharing her body with someone, like body and mind, and I don't know. The thing with Kusanagi also been confusing when we were in Sumeru, so anything could be possible. Got to think carefully. What do we know to be special about Farina exactly? Choose the most reasonable... But maybe that person was the previous arc. I can't remember. Communicate with you by connecting your consciousness. She believes the prophecy will certainly happen, but that you needn't give up all hope. Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Select. During the diplomatic meeting with the nave, she revealed that she held already probed Farina on her own and believes it's possible that not only is Farina not really the Archon, but that she's actually afflicted with some sort of curse. Is that why her eye looks like that?
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Such as a curse. It still feels so far-fetched, like where are we getting all this information from? Like, I know, we just selected the thing, but it still doesn't feel like an explanation to me.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
Doesn't matter who gave us information, what matters is the veracity of the claim.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Been saying it has to do with her eye.
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
So Farina, instead of an Archon, could just be a cursed human?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
I mean, we've never really, like, okay, aside from obviously character trials, we've never seen her use her powers in-game.
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Meanwhile, Neuvillette has showed us powers before, and he sure has powers like an Archon, but Farina never showed us anything like that.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being?
I don't know, do some waterbending right now.
Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
Wait, that one trial proved the opposite. Farina actually has no control over the Oratrice at all. Yeah, true. Choose the most reasonable thing. Child's conviction.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Right, the Oratrice didn't listen to her because she's not the real Archon.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me.
And the real Hydro Archon is in the primordial seawater.
It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day.
But what I'm thinking now, is she acting on behalf of the real Hydro Archon? Or did she get rid of the real Hydro Archon and take over the role, and that's why the primordial seawater and the prophecy is acting up?
But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created.
And why do I feel like the knave is gonna show up and like bust open a door into the trial, and she's gonna like be like, oh, I found Child, and he found the answer, because in the primordial seawater we found the real Hydro Archon, and this is the full story behind Farina.
You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
Like, Child is definitely gonna show up into the trial at some point.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
Sure, we can put the Oratrice aside for now, but then, Miss Farina, could you give us a brief demonstration of your power as an Archon? See, this is what I mean, she's never showed anything like that.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
I don't know, just do something.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
A brief demonstration of your power over Hydra should be quite harmless. Surely an Archon can at least match the capacities of a human with a vision.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Don't talk about being desperate.
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, she definitely just came up with that.
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
Uh-oh.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me!
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough!
But like, with how she reacted earlier to the prophecy, you can see that she's not just been doing all this for fun, like, oh my god, I want to be the center of attention, I'm gonna pretend I'm the Archon. No, it seems like this role was, like, given to her, and that she had to act like that, and she's been feeling guilty of it because she knows damn well that she can't stop it because she's not the real Archon, therefore can't use the powers to, like, prevent the prophecy from happening.
Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is?
Either Nubilet or a person that looked like you that fell into the water and is now in the primordial seawater.
If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence,
Stone Slate.
nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Stone Slate prophecy.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up.
Don't worry, I got this. If we can't prove that she isn't the Archon, we can try to prove that she's just a human. And if she's only human... do you want to dissolve her in primordial sea? Wait! Just the most reasonable evidence. Turns out the fontaines can be dissolved by water from the primordial sea over the years, yeah. Can we not do this? This is very dangerous.
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Guys, are you sure you want to go this far?
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Well, but she may not be from Fontaine, so, then it also wouldn't have an effect on her. Farina?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it. That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... That's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
Okay, so she is not from Fontaine. She is from a different race or something like Aether suggested, and that's probably why she's also 500 years old.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved!
Now do the same and take off the gloves, please.
Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon. I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water. Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
I'm thinking this may be something like Tokyo Ghoul. Maybe she's like a half Archon or like something. Because the hand she just put into the water, wasn't that like the one with the dark blue glove and the one with the dark blue eye is the same side probably. So what if she's like half-half and that's why she used that hand? Because she was like hoping that it wouldn't work on her because she's like partly inhuman.
Miss Siegewin? If you are present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see.
Yeah, like I was also having a thought, like maybe she's also a Melusine. Maybe she's hiding little ears like that under her head. Who knows?
That should be enough.
Like maybe under this side, that's why she's wearing the hat only on this side. Okay, but the glove does not match. That's the other side. But still, I don't know.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewin.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that
she's allergic to water.
She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur.
Okay, yeah, that's smart.
We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... You...
What's really going on here? Farina can't have not known the consequences of touching that water as a human. This is too unlike how she usually acts, unless it's actually more important for her to keep up her facade than to save her own life. But hadn't she given up on everything a long time ago?
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. What happened just now didn't prove a single thing. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water? Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
Maybe she is the Archon, but she lost her powers due to a curse? Or she was like reborn as a human? After like losing her real form in the primordial seawater? Maybe something like that.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
What if Child or anyone is gonna come in and the person that's gonna come in has found the missing stone slate of the prophecy, and this one probably shows Farina and the previous Hydro Archon Egeria, and it's gonna answer our questions and like solve the problem and everything. Like it feels like we're so close and there's just one missing puzzle that's gonna guide us to the truth.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
She's gonna switch up. She's gonna switch personalities or something. Wait, didn't we see something like
In
this
my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is...
Did we notice something like this
guilty.
in the first trial that we saw her? Or am I misremembering? I feel bad for her. No.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
That's the line my friends have been quoting at the convention. Oratrice, Beatrice. Oh, yeah. They were like turning this into a rap or something. Cutscene? Oh.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Not guilty. The gods have decided against it because they want to protect her.
Well,
Ha.
what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
Yeah, she's innocent.
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Huh.
Isn't that correct then?
Why is he surprised?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty.
So the real Hydra Archon is guilty.
To be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
I just had a shiver running down my spine.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
But she's not the Hydra Archon, so she's not the one who must be sentenced to death. But the real Hydra Archon is. That means the real Hydra Archon is dead because she's probably in the primordial seawater. See, I'm smart.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
But if the... I mean, wouldn't it say that Farina has been sentenced to death and not the Hydra Archon? You see, the wording here is what's throwing me off a bit.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences,
we effed up real bad.
Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
See, this is what I mean. What's more strange is, instead of Farina, the Oratrice rendered judgment on the Hydra Archon. She's not the Hydra Archon. But whoever the real Hydra Archon is, must be held accountable.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
I don't know. Can I save the game and end the video?